This is a short video to help you learn how to make these kinds of formatting changes on your own using Microsoft Word. So when I look at the paper in front of me, the first thing that I see is that it doesn't meet the formatting guidelines for a couple of reasons. One, I can see that there's an extra space here. And so I know you don't know how that's happening, but I'm going to show you how to undo that in just a second. The other thing I see is that it's a different font. It's not Times New Roman, and it's a smaller font. It's 11 point font instead of 12. And I can see that by looking at it, but also I can see it from the Home tab. This is the Home tab, and it has all of these kinds of functions that you can do in the paper. So the first thing that I can see, as I said, is that there's an extra space here. So I'm going to get rid of that space, and I want to make a change that affects the whole document. So I'm going to do Control A. You do Control A inside of your document, and that selects everything. Then I want to go up to the line spacing. That's what this one is, line and paragraph spacing. I can see that you're using double space, which you're supposed to. But in line spacing, notice that there's a little bit of a different thing here. Each time that you hit the Enter key, the computer is automatically adding some space, and we want to get rid of that. Take it to 0. Oops. Take it to 0, and I want you to notice what happens right here. That space just got smaller. You may not be able to see that, but I see it right away as soon as I look at the page. The next thing we want to do, since we have everything selected still, is to go ahead and change the font to Times New Roman. Now on your computer it may not show up like this, because for me I use Times New Roman all the time. But if it isn't, you can just have the one you're using highlighted and just type in Times and it will show up, and we can just hit Enter. Now it's all Times New Roman and everything is still selected. We can go ahead and change the font. And notice that it changed the title too. Everything in the paper should be 12-point font. Nothing should be bigger than the other. The other thing I can notice is if I go to Page Layout, which is a different tab, I can check the margins. And I can see that your margins are normal. They're all 1-inch margins. Those look beautiful. Now the only other thing that I would mention in your paper right now, since I'm making the video, is your header. And on the first page, the header looks fine. The problem is that when I go to the second page, and I'm going to scroll now to the second page, here's the header. And the header is so close to the first line of text that that's not what people usually want you to do. You might do this because you want to have a way of making sure that your paper stays together. And so we can have a different solution for that. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to go back to the top, so I'm going to scroll. And I want to go ahead in here to the header and footer, and I want to capture your heading, and I want to do Control C to copy it, and then I want to delete it and get rid of that header there, but put the header right here. Then I'm going to go ahead and change the font of the header to Times New Roman 12. And this is exactly what things should look like. If you want to have, oh, and if I show you the second page, I'm scrolling, sorry, you can see that it looks much cleaner by having nothing up here and just the beginning of the document. But what you can do if you're concerned at all is to put in a footer. So we'll say Insert, and then we'll just insert a footer. Or you can insert a page number. That might even be better. So we can put a page number, put it in the bottom of the page, right? Just have a simple page number in the center. And you could have that. Here's page 1. I'm scrolling to get to page 2. Oh, but you can't see it because my screen isn't. Let's see. Let me move it. Oops. Try to move it up a little bit so that you can see the page number. There's the page number at the bottom. The other thing that you could do is, if I'm going to scroll back up again, is if you don't like that, we could always go to the page number and remove page numbers. And you can put in a footer, and all you have to do is type on there, and then type your name. Oh wait, it's L, right? And then you could have, reaction paper number 1. And one thing that you could do here is highlight that, and then go to home. You can make it significantly smaller, something like that, like an 8. Make it Times New Roman still, and then you're good. Go back here with our footer, and that's what we have. Edit it. Looks good. Close it. And now you can see on the first page you have your name and your assignment there as part of your heading. But notice at the bottom of page 1 you still have this information. And then if I scroll down to the bottom of page 2, you have that information there. So it depends on why you're including your name on both pages, as to a way that you will have how you'll have your solution for it. But this is what your paper should look like. Times New Roman, 12-point font, 1-inch margins, and no extra space between the paragraphs. Hope this helps.